Wow, it just feels so quickly how's the NFL season's going by already. We're down to the final 4 weeks already. Shit, it still feels like yesterday we were just getting ready for watch the Falcons and Eagles kick it off. So anyways, here is my week 14 picks for the 2018 NFL season. Last week did a little bit worse thanks to not having all the buys, as I went 10-6, only the first time this season where I had back-to-back 10-win weeks. And only the fourth time I had 10-win weeks. So, whoopee! Maybe I can finally turn around and make this year a better year in terms of making picks. Because unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case right now, seeing how it's going at the moment. And here is the playoff stands at the season ended today. In the AFC, it's the Chiefs and Patriots with the buys, with the Ravens at the Texans and the Chargers at the Steelers. And in the NFC, it's the Rams and Saints with the buys, with the Vikings at the Bears and the Seahawks at the Cowboys. And my Super Bowl pick, once again now, is the Rams beating the Chiefs, as it's been by and large the entire season. So now, let's get to my Week 14 picks. So we get started with our Thursday night game, as it's an AFC South showdown. So much for it being possibly contending for the division lead. We'll get to that other game later on, as it's the Jaguars at the Titans. And if the Jaguars lose this, they are officially eliminated from the playoffs. As, of course, the Titans have actually won 3 in a row now, if I'm correct. And these two teams have been all over the place. Of course, the Jaguars, finally they got a win after ending that 7-game losing streak. Meanwhile, the Titans barely pulled it off against the Jets last week. Both these teams are in really pretty much free fall. But I think the Titans will get this one unless they somehow blow it again like they've done consistently throughout the season against other teams. But don't underestimate the Jaguars. After they finally got that win, they'll probably think they're going to try and surge. But especially since if they lose, they'll be eliminated from the playoffs. So I'll pick the Titans, but don't underestimate the Jaguars. And then we get to Sunday action. Starting off with the 1 p.m. games, with first off being an AFC East showdown, the Jets at the Bills. And of course, the Jets are eliminated from the playoffs. And if the Bills lose, or if the Ravens win, they will be officially eliminated from the playoffs. So it's a do or die moment for the Bills. They got to win out and hope the Ravens collapse completely. As the Jets, oh my god, you outplayed the Titans and you blew it in the end. Oh, jeez. And you've lost 6 in a row now. I'm starting to I think that actually is the worst losing streak right now in the league now that I think about it, since the Jaguars finally ended theirs. Meanwhile, the Bills lost a close game to the Dolphins, officially making their season worse than last year, trying to avoid a first losing season since 2016. And of course, we saw what happened when the Bills went to the Jets early in the year when they destroyed them, and the Jets have not beaten the Bills in Buffalo since 2011, if I'm correct. No, 2016 was the last time they won there, but by and large, historically, the last, decade almost, they've been destroyed when they visited the Bills, and we saw what happened when they, hosted the Bills earlier this year. I think the Bills are going to probably win this, but knowing the Bills are still probably the worst team in the league, they'll probably somehow blow it against the Jets too, and the Jets would probably get their revenge and knock the Bills out of the playoffs. Then we get to an outer conference showdown, as it's the Panthers at the Browns for the first time since 2010, and if the Browns lose and the Ravens win and the Steelers win too, they will be officially eliminated from the playoffs. But hey, they're happy. 4-7-1, most certainly better than what they probably would have thought they were going to be during the season. And, of course, they got destroyed by the Texans last week. So much for it being close. Meanwhile, the Panthers, oh, my God. The free fall continues now. 4 losses in a row. So much for what I said many weeks ago when I said they were going to be a legitimate threat to challenge the Saints. Oh, and yes, I forgot, too. If they lose or the Saints win, they will be officially the Saints will clinch the playoff spot and the NFC South for a second year in a row. Now, of course, you would think maybe the Panthers would probably be a better team, but they're on that free fall. And also, the Browns historically play very good against the Panthers, especially when they host them. So I'm actually picking the Browns for this one. So if the Panthers want to finally end their 4-game losing streak, they're going to have a lot of work to go through against the Browns, because this is not going to be easy. And then it's the Falcons at the Packers for the first time since 2014. Remember that incredible Monday night game 4 years ago? Oh, boy. And also, if the Falcons lose, and probably a bunch of 6-6 teams, but actually the Vikings, if they win, they will be officially eliminated from the playoffs. And I think the Packers, if they lose and a couple teams win out, they also might be eliminated, but they have that tie, so that might be able to save them for at least a little bit longer, unlike the Falcons. Oh boy, maybe this will be an offensive shootout, but again, who knows, because these teams have been terrible all year, and of course the Packers just fired Mike McCarthy last week. I mean, after that terrible loss against the Cardinals, which was unbelievable. And of course, Joe Philbin, their new head coach, he was their offensive coordinator for numerous years, and he was also the head coach for the Dolphins from 2012 to the first quarter of 2015. That offense was very inconsistent, so even with Aaron Rodgers, you should still expect the inconsistency from the Packers. But I definitely trust Aaron Rodgers-led team over a Falcons team that's been terrible all year, inconsistent, and have lost 4 in a row, so I'm picking the Packers to win this one, but watch they'll somehow blow it like they did last week against the Cardinals. Oh god, that was so embarrassing. Then we get to that big AFC South showdown I mentioned before with the division on the line, as it's the Colts at the Texans, and if the Texans win this, they will officially make a playoff appearance and clinch the AFC South both for the first time since 2016. Oh my god, can you believe that? This team started off 0-3, and not only are they on the verge of making the playoffs and winning the division, but they're still in contention to win get a first round bye possibly, which they've never done in their 16 years history. Holy crap, that will be something. As the Texans destroyed the Browns last week, the Colts laid an egg against the Jaguars, but I warned them, and they blew it still in the end. Boy, I knew that 5-game win streak was finally going to come to an end eventually. I think the Texans will get this, but don't underestimate the Colts Texans. You barely pulled it off last time, and they're much better now than they were back then. So they got a number to pull. I mean, want to put something up on you, especially to try and win that NFC South title over you. So don't underestimate them, but I think the Texans will get this. Then we get to a huge playoff game with the league's #1 offense and defense going up against each other, as it's the Ravens at the Chiefs for the first time since 2012. And if the Chiefs win this, they will clinch a playoff spot for, the 4th year in a row. And of course, the Ravens did a spanking on the Falcons. Pretty damn good job, although I think Flacco's going to be starting, so what's the point of keep putting him back in when they had Lamar Jackson? Should let the rookie try to get some experience. And the Chiefs had an offensive shootout, of course, against the Raiders and held on. And, of course, they did that despite not having Kareem Hunt, which, what the fuck, NFL? And Chiefs, too. Why the fuck would you cut him? Why not just put the suspension on him instead like you should be? And also, from the video we showed, it's not really conclusive, and from what I've heard, Kareem Hunt might have actually been acting somewhat in self-defense. So, from what that sounds like you're overblowing it again, like you overblew the Ray Rice incident years ago. That's really pathetic. And no, the Chiefs should not have released him. If anything, maybe a suspension, but a release is way too far, and I hope he gets on another team somewhere, but knowing the NFL with Ray Rice, I doubt that'll ever happen again. Come on, Ravens, be a smart idea and pick him up soon. Although I doubt that too. But oh boy, this will be an awesome game though, with the league's #1 offense and defense going at it. Oh boy, that's gonna be sick. Especially since these games, hey, maybe this game will be defensive as hell, like it's been the last bunch of years when the Ravens and Chiefs play each other, especially when they visit the Chiefs. And of course, the Chiefs have struggled throughout the year when they play really strong defenses, yet they still somehow win in the end. So I'm picking the Chiefs for this one, but don't underestimate the Ravens. They, as we saw throughout the year, like I mentioned, really good defenses have actually stopped the Chiefs' offense pretty well and forced turnovers on them. It's just that they still somehow win in the end. Maybe the Ravens could be that with the #1 defense. Maybe they could actually beat a team to not only force a turnover, but somehow get a win on you. But of course, the Chiefs are going to try everything they can do to win and get a playoff spot. And then we got the AFC East on the line as well, as it's the Patriots at the Dolphins. And if the Patriots win this, they will clinch a playoff spot and the AFC East for like the 10th year in a row now, as the Dolphins are still trying to fight and keep up with a possible wild card hope on the line, or maybe somehow win the NFC East still, which is still a possibility after they barely held on to beat the Bills. And the Patriots put a spanking on the Vikings until when it looked like throughout the game it was going to be very close and defensively. Now, of course, as every year, the Patriots are overwhelmingly picked to beat the Dolphins when they visit them. And as always, every year, I'm picking the Dolphins. Everyone laughed at me. The Dolphins aren't going to beat the Patriots in 2013. Oh, shit, they did. They're not going to beat the they're not going to beat the Patriots in 2014 when they host them. Oh, shit, they did. They're not going to beat them in 2015 when the Patriots try to get home field advantage wrapped up. Oh, shit, they did. They're not going to beat them next month, 2017 Monday night. Oh, shit, they did, and they spanked them. You get my point. The Patriots, in fact, are 1-4 when they visit the Dolphins in the last 5 games. They've only won 20% of their games. That is how much of a spanking they get every year when they visit the Dolphins, yet everyone still overwhelmingly picks the Patriots despite that history. Hell yeah, I'm picking the Dolphins until the history changes. So right now, I'm definitely picking the Dolphins for this one. I won't be surprised at all if they get it. Watch the league itself be surprised. Anyways, after that, another NFC South showdown, as it's the Saints at the Buccaneers. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, if the Saints win or the Panthers lose, the Saints will officially clinch a playoff spot and the NFC South title. And of course, the Buccaneers actually still are in the playoff race if they lost, even if they lost right now. And of course, the Buccaneers want to show that Week 1 beatdown they gave the Saints was no fluke, and they're going to probably try and do it again. And they've always played really tough when they host the Saints. In fact, I think they've won the last 2, maybe 3 games in a row when they host them. The Buccaneers are a really hard competitive team for the Saints to beat, especially when they're in Tampa. And of course, as we saw last Thursday night, when the Saints offense got completely destroyed by this Cowboys defense, historically now they 5-2 after that loss. The Saints, historically, the last bunch of years when they play really good, they struggled down the end of the stretch. Hell, even remember last year, they went 3-3 the final 6 games of the season. So, yeah, Saints, you really should be worrisome about that possibility. Especially when you got to have, after this, probably 3 tough games against playoff teams last year. So, don't underestimate the Buccaneers whatsoever. They have been all over the place, but they actually got your number, at least so far this year, when they beat your ass on the Week 1. So don't underestimate them, and that's why I'm picking the Buccaneers to get this one. And then it's the Giants at the Redskins, as if the Giants lose, I'm pretty sure they will be officially eliminated, because if they lose, they'll have the Redskins will sweep the Giants and have that tiebreaker against them. Oh, too, the Eagles as well. Matter of fact, the Giants have not won a single division game yet this year. So yeah, I'm pretty confident if they lose, they'll be officially eliminated, unless the 6-5 Vikings and the other 6-6 teams manage to lose out and such to keep them within and maybe get in as a wild card team. Anyways, the Giants pulled off the win against the Bears. I told the Bears, don't underestimate the Giants. I actually don't know why Jeff over at Slade Day is so stunned that the Giants beat the Bears. It was bound to happen, for God's sake. The Giants, as much as you shit on them, they're 3-1 the last 4 weeks. They played very well these last bunch of weeks. They could have easily been 4-0 possibly. That's how good they played the last bunch of weeks. So shitting on them is really, really uncalled for and really ignorant. And the Redskins, of course, 6-6. They've lost 3 in a row. Still somehow in the playoff race. And, of course, on their 3rd-string quarterback now, with Colt McCoy going down, enjoy having butt fumble Mark Sanchez leading the way, unless they bring in someone else, too, to replace Colt McCoy getting injured. Oh, boy, the Redskins they're all over the place when they host the Giants. Although the Giants actually do have a winning record the last 5 games they played the Redskins when they visit them, 3-2. I probably should pick the Giants for this one. And I mean, I really should, like I just mentioned, they're on a roll. And the Redskins, of course, are complete falling off after losing 3 in a row. But I'm still picking the Redskins for some stupid reason, I'm picking the Redskins for this one. And I'm going to look like an idiot probably when the Giants get this, probably very convincing. And then we get to the 4 p.m. games, starting off with the Bengals at the Chargers for the first time since 2013. And the Bengals, of course, are making their first appearance in LA since 1990. As, of course, I think they still could be in the playoffs even if they lose and they'll even somehow win this. And the Chargers are setting themselves up in a position where if they win, and if they're lucky, if the Colts, Dolphins, Titans, and Broncos all lose, they will clinch their first playoff appearance since 2013. I'm pretty sure that would be the case for them to get into the playoffs. And then set up that next Thursday night game against the Chiefs, which will be huge. Anyways, the Bengals, of course, are in free fall mode. They've lost now 4 in a row. Shit, I don't even remember the last. Oh, yeah, when they got spanked by the Broncos. Yep. No A.J. Green. No Andy Dalton. Good luck. Win a single game for the rest of the way. Watch somehow you do it, because you actually have a very good history when you visit the Chargers. And the Chargers themselves, oh boy, down 23-7 against the Steelers. They made the comeback and pulled it off. Hard-fought victory there, and a well-deserved one, too. As the Chargers are definitely up there. Should be one of the AFC contenders that no one's still talking about at all. I think the Chargers will get this one easily, but don't underestimate the Bengals Chargers. They have a winning record the last bunch of times they visit the Chargers, so don't underestimate the Bengals. And then it's the Broncos at the 49ers for the first time since 2010, and technically first time since 2002, since their last game was in London back in 2010. And of course the Broncos are still trying to keep up a playoff spot, as they have a better record than last year, and they've won 3 in a row now. They're actually looking pretty solid these last few weeks. They better hope their terrible start's not going to hurt their chances of getting into the playoffs. And meanwhile, the 49ers, of course, have been eliminated from the playoffs. They lost 3 in a row. They got destroyed by the Seahawks last Sunday. And nothing is looking right for them. No surprise whatsoever. I think the Broncos will get this one. But, of course, knowing the Broncos will probably shit the bed and let the 49ers somehow get this too. And it's the Lions at the Cardinals for the first time since 2014, as the Lions are trying to avoid their first losing season since 2015. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, if they lose, or any of the 6-win teams right now in the NFC get a 7th win, they are officially eliminated. Especially the Vikings will be eliminated if they win, and the Redskins too, and a couple other teams, I think, because they have tiebreakers over them. Meanwhile, the Lions, if they lose, and a couple teams went out. Oh yeah, the Vikings too, if they win and the Lions lose, they also will be officially eliminated from the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row. As both teams are struggling really bad, no surprise. The Lions got, trying to remember their last game. Oh yeah, they played hard against the Rams until they shat the bed near the end. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, holy crap, you beat the Packers on the road and forced Mike McCarthy's ass to get fired. Holy shit, that was an impressive performance right there. And of course, the Cardinals historically play very good when they host the Lions. In fact, God, I don't even remember the last time the Lions beat the Cardinals in Glendale. It's been forever. And I mean probably since the early 2000s or mid-2000s when they last beat them down there. That's just pretty funny, especially since the Lions and Cardinals played each other numerous times over the bunch of years and shit. I think the Cardinals will get this one, seeing their history against the Lions, and knock them out of the playoffs, and hoping to keep their slim playoff hopes alive, even though it's very unlikely. And then we get to the other NFC East showdown with the number 1 seed probably at the line, as the Eagles are at the Cowboys. And of course, the Cowboys desperately need to get this win so they can possibly have a 2-game lead over the Redskins and Eagles. Then we could possibly talk about them winning the division, as they've won 4 in a row. They have one of the best defense in the league right up there with the Ravens. Shit, I bet they wish they had this defense back in 2014 and 16. Meanwhile, as they destroyed the mighty Saints, which I warned the Saints not to underestimate, and they did. Meanwhile, the Eagles, they've won 2 in a row, as they're still struggling, as the schedule is not looking good for them, especially since they got to go on the road 3 of the last 4 games of the season, and all of them are against playoff teams still by and large, so not looking good for them whatsoever, although that was a pretty convincing win against the Redskins. Even though I think the Eagles actually have, the Eagles actually do have a winning record against the Cowboys when they go down to Arlington. In fact, I think they're 4-1, believe it or not. But of course, it's not looking good for them this time around. They're struggling. The Cowboys are surging right now, and I think the Cowboys will get this, but I won't won't be surprised if the Eagles will get it. And it's our previously Sunday night game that got flexed out, as it's the Steelers at the Raiders for the first time since 2013, as the Steelers trying to get another win season and keep up against the Ravens in the AFC North after they've now lost 2 in a row. Oh, God. Laying an egg against the Broncos, and then laying an even bigger egg against the Chargers after you had that 23-7 lead. Oh my God, you are really falling apart once again. Nothing is going right for the Steelers by and large. Meanwhile, the Raiders had that hard-fought game against the Chiefs, but just couldn't pull it out in the end. And actually, I'm changing my pick here. I had the Steelers originally, but I'm actually going to take the chance and pick the Raiders. mainly because the Steelers struggle immensely when they visit the Raiders. In fact, now that I think of it, they've lost, I think, 3+ in a row against the Raiders. And of course, this was 2006 when the Raiders were the worst, literally the worst team in the league with one of the worst offenses in the last 10, 15 years. They lost in 2012 when the Steelers were better. They lost in 2013 when the Steelers were better. So the Steelers, when they visit the Raiders, even when they're massively superior, they always lose against the Raiders. So I think that's going to happen. And the Steelers will probably lose 3 in a row to lose any shot at possibly clinching the #1 spot. And they still have to try and worry about the Ravens. So I picked the Raiders now this time, but I won't be surprised if the Steelers somehow get it. But I will be surprised if the Steelers get it. And then we get to Sunday night. Oh boy, what a game this will be. A huge showdown with the #1 seed possibly at the line still, or first round bye contention, as it's the Rams at the Bears for the first time since 2012, I believe. Been a long time, because most of the times they play the Bears, they host them. And of course, for all of you who don't know, if the Rams get this, if they win this game, they will officially clinch first round bye for the first time since 2003 as they try and keep up ahead against the Saints as they destroyed the Lions on the road. Meanwhile, the Bears laid an egg against the Giants even when they made their massive comeback. Of course, I was surprised about that whatsoever. I actually thought the Bears might get this, but the Rams struggled against the Saints during the year, and the Bears don't really have the offense. They have the defense, so maybe they can get the win with defensive pressure, but unless they have an offense to combat that defense of the Rams, I think they might struggle, and I think the Rams will actually get this victory, but I won't be surprised if the Bears get it, especially since the Rams are trying to get first round bye wrapped up. And then we get to a big Monday night game. Who would have thought this would be wild card aspirations on the line right now, as it's the Vikings at the Seahawks for the first time since 2013. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2013. As the Vikings win, they'll knock a whole bunch of teams out of the playoffs. Same goes for the Seahawks too, as they're both trying to fight. Well, actually, no. These are the 2 wild card teams right now in the NFC. So this game's actually more about getting that 5th seed right now, which the Seahawks have at the moment, as the Vikings are trying to keep up with everyone in the NFC wild card race and trying to leapfrog over the Seahawks to get that 5th seed. Because I'm sure that everyone would rather visit the Cowboys instead of the Bears at the moment in a wild card round, as the Vikings lost that game against the Patriots when they actually looked like they might have had a shot in the end, but blew it near the end of this game. And then the Seahawks, I told everyone not to underestimate the Seahawks, and now they've won 3 in a row and look damn good, especially since 4 of their last 5 games, 3 of their last 4 games are at home. They have a very, very, very good spot right now to get a wild card spot right now. It's incredible how everyone thought the Seahawks were going to be shit, and they're still on the verge of making a playoff appearance again. And I think the Seahawks will get this. This could actually be an offensive shootout possibly, which would be incredible, although a defensive slugfest would be better for me. But I won't underestimate the Vikings either. I just feel bad for Miami, who has to go out there next Monday night. Oh boy. But anyways, those are my picks for Week 14. Can't wait for Jaguars at Titans tonight, and I can't wait for all these games, as we're going to be seeing very soon who's going to start clinching playoff spots and who's going to be eliminated, as we got 4 teams, I think. No, we have possibility of 5 teams making a playoff appearance this week and having 5 teams in the playoffs with just 3 weeks remaining. So that's going to be exciting the last bunch of weeks to see who's going to make it into the playoffs.